it's me, and I'm comfy. Today we're gonna be watching a true story animation about a girl who was in a coma for years, but could still hear everything. Grab a snack and let's watch.
Hi there, I'm Aria. Imagine yourself not being able to say, I'm hungry, I'm hurting, thank you, I love you. Imagine yourself being imprisoned inside a body which doesn't obey your orders at all.
Then that wouldn't be my body now, would it?
It wouldn't be easy, would it? Well, I lived for years feeling this way. Years of wishing for the ability to connect, to express, to share with others. Maybe you're wondering about the reason? Well, it was that I fell off the tree.
She what now? She fell off a tree? Fell off a tree and into a coma. That's why when I was younger, I would never climb too high.
I was my mom and dad's only child, and we lived in a small house with a stunning backyard, which had an old oak tree that was said to be even older than my grandparents. When my dad first bought the house, he found a tree house in the oak tree built by the kids who had lived in the house before us.
Whoa.
After a lot of convincing, my father agreed to fix the tree house. He even made a wooden ladder so I could climb into the tree easily.
Wow, what a flex. Is this what it's like having parents that love you? It's like my childhood dream to have a tree house. I love climbing trees. I would have traded my left pinky nail for a tree house.
I remember helping my dad decorate its walls with posters and photos of my favorite band.
Is she a Metallica fan? Alright, right on.
My mom was a moody woman who yelled a lot, and nothing me or my dad did could please her.
I mean, at least you got one good parent and a tree house.
She would spend the whole night smoking cigarettes in front of the TV and then sleep the whole day.
Oh my gosh, that's literally my dad.
My dad, he spent his time working so he could pay the bills and buy us food.
Oh my god, that's like my mom. This is like my childhood, except I did have a tree house.
For my 13th birthday, my dad bought me the best gift ever. He bought me a little white puppy that was super fluffy.
Oh, I'm like, wait, why the puppy got lips? We'll put lipstick on him. But no, it's just his mouth, badly drawn mouth.
Perhaps this dog would keep me company so I wouldn't be so alone.
Oh, what a cute dog. Perhaps this dog will fill the void in my empty soul and rid me of my loneliness. Will you do that for me, dog? You're on camera, nod your head or something. She yawned. She said no.
And I taught him lots of tricks. We used to spend all day together in the treehouse. We would only go home to eat dinner.
What about when the dog got a poop? You're gonna tell me you let him poop in the treehouse and you just like fling it into people's backyards. It's not a bad idea.
Back then, my dad only came home after the sun had set, so I'd watch the stars lighting up the sky. They looked amazing. I knew that those stars were nothing but meteors traveling fast through the sky as they burned, but everything my dad told me about them made them seem magical.
Girl, you got a treehouse and a dog, like you live in a life. Don't you go to school? I know you can make at least one friend at school. Like, unless you don't shower and you smell.
He explained a long time ago there was a poor man praying to the gods every day. However, the gods were always busy, so they didn't answer him. One day, he screamed so loudly the mountains shook. The gods looked at him and listened to his troubles.
They're like, dang, what? What you want? All right, I'll hear you out. If you promise not to shriek again.
They became so sad and cried burning stars. So this way, whenever he saw a falling star in the sky, he'd make a wish and the gods would make them come true.
All he had to do was yell, and that's how entitlement began. You want to get somebody's attention? You want them to grant your wish? Scream at them. That's what I got from that story.
On that same night, while I was lying in bed hugging Snowball, it started to feel like my life was falling apart. My mom was screaming hysterically at my dad, telling him that the money he was bringing in was no longer enough and that he should start searching for an extra job.
You're the one sitting at home spending all the money. What do you mean I need another job? There's two of us. You get a job.
So that she could no longer go out with her friends because she was so embarrassed. She couldn't afford to buy new dresses every time they went out like her friends did.
Have you tried not being broke?
I snuck out of the window and headed towards the dark oak tree in the backyard. Everything around me was dark. Behind me walked Snowball, and then we arrived at the treehouse. It was pitch black, so I missed a step on the ladder, and then my leg slipped. The last thing I remembered from that day was that after I fell hard on the ground, everything around me turned fuzzy. After a little while, I felt myself waking up. My head hurt and I couldn't feel any part of my body. I'd completely lost control over my body parts. Even my eyes, I couldn't open them. I could feel the light around me, but it was too difficult to open my eyes.
Dang, that's scary. I was gonna be like, you can't go outside and climb into the pitch black treehouse. She done fell into a coma.
I didn't know much about death, except that after death, a person drowns in darkness. But this darkness I felt was different, completely different. I could feel my body freezing.
It's like I'm alive, but I'm dead.
Suddenly, I heard someone. If I was able to hear him, that means I wasn't dead. Thank God! I gathered he was a doctor speaking to my parents. He said, the damage she suffered to her head due to the fall has resulted in severe internal bleeding in her brain, which is preventing enough oxygen from reaching her body, resulting in a coma. But I wasn't in a coma. I was there. I wanted to scream, to call out for them, to say something, anything. But I wasn't able to even talk at that time. Suddenly, I was just a vegetable.
I was a vegetable. Girl, what? Of all the vegetables, she chose broccoli. Why did they actually draw her as a broccoli?
Unable to do anything but listen. Most people don't think twice before talking or connecting with others. They do it automatically. But I had absolutely no way of speaking to anyone.
I would be so annoyed. I don't know if when you're actually in a coma you can hear things. Maybe you forget them. I don't have any coma experience. But like imagine people all around you talking about you, saying things. You can't say anything. You can't react. You can't even look at them. You can't even pull your own plug if you've had enough. It's miserable.
For the last 13 years, I had been a normal girl who loved her dad, her dog, and who loved to play.
I like how she didn't mention the mom. I love my dad and my dog get to play in my treehouse. Birth giver? No.
But now, suddenly, that had all changed. The doctors didn't know what to do. All the time I spent in the hospital, I only heard my dad's voice. My mom had completely vanished.
The way she just got out of there.
I didn't hear anything related to her until the day the doctor said there is nothing more they can do and that it is best for me to return to my parents' home. I heard my mom arguing with my dad. She didn't want me back home. I was, according to her, a burden that she didn't want to carry.
I don't know which is more of a struggle, this marriage or her dad's hairline.
But I went home anyway. I was happy because I was returning home. I heard my dad telling my mom that he finished the treehouse because that was the last thing I asked him to do. That's why he insisted on bringing me back home, so I could be near the things I loved.
I'm surprised she didn't instantly hear treehouse and then just wake up.
Things went downhill from there. I lost my ability to move. I failed all the mind exams they conducted on me in the hospital, so the doctors told my parents they could treat me as if I didn't exist. My return home was just a hopeless attempt at keeping my unconscious body comfortable until I died. My dad tried his hardest to keep me comfortable, and that really annoyed my mom. Their friends stopped visiting after a while, and the money dad was providing was no longer enough. Machines that were keeping me alive were too expensive. Before, I was able to escape my mom's screaming and ranting, but today I was stuck with it without them even knowing that I could hear them.
Dang, that's really sad. It's like, what should you do in this situation? You pulling the plug? Or are you gonna hope for the best and wait for her to wake up? Maybe a dead girl is telling a story. I don't know.
When my dad first got me Snowball, I thought that he was very smart and could just understand me without even having to talk to him. But my dad used to laugh and say, dogs are about as smart as a 3-year-old. They can feel when you're happy, sad, or scared, but they can't read your mind. Deep down, though, I knew Snowball was no ordinary dog. He was special enough to be able to read my thoughts because we had this insane bond.
You telling me she gonna try to send telepathic messages to the dog and he gonna bark in Morse code to speak to the dad? Dad, I'm okay. Just chilling me and my brain. I'm surprised the mother didn't pull the plug to charge her phone.
Every time my parents started their screaming matches, I'd hear Snowball sitting beside me and barking in a low voice, as if to tell me that everything would be alright. I was sure that Snowball knew I was a prisoner in my body, unlike what everyone else believed. He never left my side. His breathing was my only comfort. For a while, I used to be entertained by my father when he entered my room at night and started moving my body left and right to help my blood circulate.
I was gonna be like, wait, that's weird. That's very good for coma patients. You gotta like move them around so their muscles don't go.
A year quickly turned into 2, and I felt the person I used to be disappearing. My mom said that she'd had enough with my stuff taking up so much room and that she could put the space to good use. My dad wasn't able to refuse, so he just said that he'd move my things to the treehouse. It wasn't long until I was moved out of my room to another one that was more practical and way smaller. It had barely enough room for my bed, machines, and for one person to be able to move around in.
They put her in the closet. They're like, she asleep anyway. Just put her in the junk drawer. I don't even know what I would do in this situation, except crack a joke or two.
What was worse was that this little room was next to the living room. That meant that I could hear everything. 2 years turned to 3, and I was still in the same place with no one aware of my existence. It was like I was a ghost. Whenever my mom's friends came to visit, they used to ignore me, as if I was just part of the furniture. I was dead to everyone, just not in the ground. Only Snowball remained at my side.
Aww.
My mom and her friends' conversations were ridiculous. They gossiped a lot and couldn't stop judging their relatives.
They are so rude. I thought she lost all her friends. She just doesn't have a job. This is unemployed behavior.
Sometimes they talked about clothes, travel, and their husbands. I once heard my mom talking ill about my dad. She said he was the reason behind her unhappiness and that she had met some rich guy at a coffee shop. That guy had invited her for a drink and she'd gone to meet him. And now she was seriously considering leaving me and my dad. For me, that was the worst part about those 3 years. Feeling totally powerless and not being able to stand in front of her and not being able to scream, "You're an ungrateful woman! All the things dad did for you, and yet it's never enough. Now you want to leave him because some other guy has more money?"
Straight to jail. What a horrible mother. I wouldn't even call her a mother. Just trash.
My poor dad didn't deserve my mom, or even me. I found myself in utter darkness, and the darkness was swallowing my dad up whole. I couldn't remember much about my life before the fall. I was so terrified I'd forget everything.
I feel so
remembered
bad
having
for
a
the
friend
dad.
called Maisie, but I couldn't remember what we used to do or how we would spend time together. I remember loving science, but I no longer remembered any of the stuff that we'd learned at school. At the same time, my mind clung onto those memories, and at the same time, started creating new ones that hadn't existed before. I had to find a way to stay here, in this world, even if I had to create my own world inside my head. Maisie became my best friend. She always visited on Sundays.
Wait, it just ends right then and there? What happens? Does she ever wake up? There's a part 2? What? Okay, well, I guess that's it. Will Arya wake up? Will Snowball save the day? Will her mother fall into a pit of fire? If you guys want a part 2, make sure to hit that like button in the face. And make sure you turn on notifications. Click, and subscribe to the Wolf Pack. I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.